wanted to bring this up to let you guys know that, don't get distracted by certain things that you see, because a lot of people are in it for different reasons, okay? A lot of them cannot regurgitate particular information that I even present to you guys because they're not really historians or they're not really researchers. They're in a totally different field and they're in it for the money. I mean, it's obvious, because they will switch up every 3 years in order to keep their crowd moving. But with me, of course, I've been stating the same things for quite some time now and been presenting a lot of factual information that you guys can go back and check up on, and which I highly recommend and always do so. I always tell you not to believe anything that I state. I want you to write it down and look it up for yourself. You are responsible in that sense. But yeah, the majority of the information that I present, a lot of people are banking on, which is a great thing. And then there are people that state that they don't listen to me and they turn right around and regurgitate verbatim, damn near, the information that I present. So I know they're listening to me, and it's hilarious because what they're trying to do is just overstep their boundaries and they can't answer particular questions. So they'll fall back on the so-called black term. And there's multiple different terms that I disagree with, and I've been telling you guys this for quite some time. The reason why I disagree with certain people that you see out there, especially those that are creating this thing called foundational Black America, there's no such thing. Number one, the term black wasn't even utilized amongst our own people until the 1960s, so that's a brand new term. That has nothing to do with how America was founded. Straight up. Like, our people were not referring to ourselves as black people during the time of founding or with creating America, okay? There's a lot of terminology that I do not like using, okay? And I keep telling you guys this because it doesn't represent us. What it does represent, like when you use terms like black, what it does represent is that you're being comfortable with allowing strangers to call you whatever they want to call you. And some of you guys would turn your nose up at that statement and say, well, we've been saying it for years now. What does it matter, Dane? That matters a great deal. That matters a great deal because everybody else, every other class or race, whatever one you want to use, will be looking at us as if, he or she doesn't even know who they are, what they want to be, and anything. Like, you just allowing a stranger to dictate what you are. And what is black? What is that? Yeah, we have a culture. We didn't just create this culture. The culture was already here prior to our people agreeing with calling each other black, just allowing a stranger to do that. We had everything already, the legacies, the cultures, the languages. So we still gonna latch on to something a stranger called us? See, and what I'm trying to get people to understand is the way it's represented in law and the way it's represented by definition is stating that it's non-existent right now. So you can't lean on the fact that it's a color because nobody else is calling themselves or representing themselves by way of color. There's no such thing as brown Americans, yellow Americans. Then there should be no such thing as black Americans. Think about that. This is how you know, and I keep telling people this is how you know that term, black and white, are both statuses in this government. Because not all people who are labeled as white are of Caucasian descent, okay? You have East Africans, you have some West Africans, you have North Africans, you have Haitians, you have some people coming from South America being labeled as white, and we share the same skin complexion. This is how you know that terminology is a status. So when you turn around and label yourself as black, what does that mean? That means that you're null and void. This is the reason why the reparations argument hasn't been looked past being looked at. It didn't gradually go to a different step where it goes in motion because you're still referring to yourself as being non-existent. Reparations are not owed to black people because it wasn't black people in the 1800s. It did not exist then. Prior to the 1900s, you're not going to see that terminology. And when they started using the term black, it was strangers using it. It wasn't us. Foreigners were using the term black. So why would you allow a stranger to dictate who you are? And do you want to turn right around and say, well, our ancestors founded America? That's true, but they didn't call themselves black. Well, Dane, what do we call ourselves? You call yourself who you are, meaning by your tribal affiliation, whatever tribe or family that your family was associated with. And see, there's another thing that a lot of people want to just, no, that's too much work and I don't want to do that. But you're being lazy again. You need to find out who you are instead of categorizing yourself by these generic terms that are basically social constructs that were created for you. And they're not working in your best interest. You're literally shooting yourself in the foot by stating that you're black. That is not your skin complexion. 1, you shouldn't be trying to call yourself by your skin complexion. 2, 3, where does it state that a black person or a black citizen has any rights? I dare anybody to look that up. You're not going to find it. It doesn't exist. And this is a public service announcement to those of you that feel comfortable with calling yourself these generic terms, these social constructs, but yet you want things to change, but you're not making changes for yourself right now. And then you want to turn around and call people like me who are letting you know that this is totally incorrect. You want to call us radical. Oh, he's against the people. I'm not against the people. I'm for the people. I wouldn't be stating this otherwise. If I wasn't for the people, I would tell you to continue calling yourself black, knowing that it's not working with you and it's working against you. You know, and that's how you can tell who your real enemy is. I put out a lot of information in multiple different ways, even government records, government documentation, to prove to you that these are nothing but social constructs. I have videos out on the census and the census records and their enumerators. From the time it started till now, their instructions, I went over their instructions. Well, how they had to categorize our people by somebody else's labeling, by somebody else's classifying. We did not agree to this, guys. We never did. So we shouldn't have to settle just because it's more commercially known, or rather commonly known. We shouldn't have to settle with calling ourselves black when we're not black. Look, if we're going by complexion, we're all different shades of the color brown, okay? That's what should allow you to raise a red flag about that term. You have to question everything. Why do we have Black History Month if black means non-existent? It's a reason why. They want to wipe out your history. And look, and if you notice over these years of you guys knowing how the Black history routine is, who benefits from it? Retail stores or anybody selling something, not the people. Am I right or wrong? Because nowadays, our people don't even want to hear about the slave stories and whatever they want to bring up. But you know who's benefiting? Netflix and Amazon and stuff like that. Companies are going to be able to push that as another campaign, as another special event. And, you know, people fall for it. Our people especially. Oh, that's designed for us, when it's the exact same thing just now. Or let's put up the movies with black voices. And they have their own section up under Amazon Prime and Netflix. That's silly. These are the videos that were non-existent. So here, let's put them in the forefront now. Really, that's why I remember when I told YouTube, don't add me to the black voices or the black creators. Don't do that. Put me in the same algorithm as everybody else, because how come they are not categorized? The white voices, the white creators, that doesn't exist. I told YouTube straight up, don't put me with none of that. That has nothing to do with me. I'm not labeling myself black. I'm here. I'm existing. And so should you. You should feel that exact same way. That's my message to those people that are falling for that terminology. And then they